Hello, welcome back to Kim Reads. We're going to start our next Addy story. Happy Birthday Addy. Chapter 1, Double Dutch. The jump ropes slapped on the sidewalk as Addy took her place at the end of the line of the girls who were playing Double Dutch after school. Addy had just missed for the fourth time. Don't worry, said her good friend Sarah. Just keep trying. You'll get it. Double Dutch is hard. Addy agreed. It sure is. I can jump with one rope just fine, but the minute I try to jump into two, I get them all tangled up. The ropes get so fast I can hardly see them. That'll change, said Sarah, but just don't get discouraged. In spite of her troubles with Double Dutch, Addy felt happy on this pretty spring day. Papa had been back with her and Mama for 3 months. They had moved out of Mrs. Ford's garret and into a boarding house. It was almost like having a big family again, except that Addy's brother Sam and baby sister Esther weren't there. Maybe that'll change someday, she thought. Look at you there, Sarah said, pointing at the street. Ain't that your Papa driving the ice wagon? Addy looked to where Sarah was pointing. That's Papa, Addy exclaimed. Let's go meet him. The girls took off and raced down the block. Well, well, Papa said in his deep voice when the girls reached the wagon. Look what the wind done blown my way. I reckon you girls could use a nice chunk of ice to cool you down. I sure could, said Sarah, panting from the run. Me too, said Addy with a smile. Papa got down from his seat. The girls followed him to the back where he opened the doors of the wagon. Inside were huge blocks of ice. Addy could feel the moist coolness from inside. Papa slipped on a pair of thick gloves and took an ice pick from his belt. As he chipped away at a block of ice, glitter silvers flew into the air. He handed Sarah and Addy each a piece of ice the size of a small slice of pie. If you girls want a ride home, I'm going to be heading that way a bit. I got a few stops to make first, Papa said. We'd like to ride. Come on, Sarah, said Addy. I can't, Sarah said. I have to get right home and help my Mama. All right, Addy said. I'll see you tomorrow. She was disappointed. Sarah often had to help her mother do the washing that she took in to earn money. Addy and Papa climbed into the wagon as Sarah left. Papa slapped the reins on the horse's back and the wagon moved away from the curb. Addy sat close to Papa, sucking on her piece of ice. It was like holding a piece of winter. Addy had to shift from hand to hand as it slowly melted and dripped. Addy gave her his huge gloves. Wear these, he said, so your hands won't get cold. I wish Sarah ain't have to help her Mama so much, Addy said as she put the gloves on. I wish she didn't either, Papa said, but her family need the money. He shook his head. I never did expect things to be easy and freedom, but I didn't think things would be this hard either. Addy looked at Papa. His big smile had melted away. His face looked serious. When me and Mama first got here, I didn't like Philadelphia at all, Addy said softly. Mama worked real hard. I spent most of my time alone in our room. I was missing you and Sam and Esther something awful. But Mama kept saying things were going to get better. It was going to take time for things to change. Sometimes it seems like change is as slow as this here tired horse, Papa sighed. But at least in Philadelphia, things can change for the better. That's true, Addy said, finishing her ice and removing Papa's gloves. When we was down on the plantation, there was no chance for things to change. Slavery was draining the life out of us, said Papa. That's one reason I knew we had to take our freedom. Addy spread out her arms. Here in Philadelphia, it seemed like my world getting bigger and bigger. Sometimes I can't believe I really go to school, that I can read and write and do my figures. I used to dream about it, but now it's real. And look at us, Papa. We're riding around the city on this big wagon. This is much bigger than warming tobacco plants. Addy saw a smile ease on Papa's face. Papa said, there is some things better here. You go to school. Me and your mom are getting paid for our work, and we have a nice room at the boarding house. Even though Sam and Esther ain't with us yet, Addy said, you being here made things much better for me and Mama. But I want them to be even better. Papa responded. Hauling ice and don't take nothing but muscle. I'm a good carpenter. I got a good mind. I can build anything. Every carpenter job I get, they say they don't hire color faults. Ain't that something, Addy? When we was in slavery, I was a carpenter. Now that I'm free, I find out these white people up north think a color man ain't good enough or smart enough to drive a nail. That ain't fair, Addy said. Sure ain't, Papa said, but that's the way it is. Papa made 2 deliveries before coming to his last stop at Natkin's confectionery shop. Addy could see a group of white girls about her age sitting at the table eating ice cream. She had walked by the shop once with Sarah, and Sarah told her about the ice cream there. Back then, Addy didn't even know what ice cream is. But at a church social a few weeks later, Addy had her first taste. She loved it. It was creamy and sweet and cold. Without thinking, Addy blurted out to Papa, "It sure would be good to have some ice cream right now." As soon as the words had flown out of her mouth, Addy felt awful. She shouldn't have asked Papa to spend money on fancy treats. And she knew that the shop didn't serve black people. She looked again at the group of girls talking happily inside. Papa glanced where Addy was looking. He didn't say anything as he climbed down from the ice wagon. Addy watched Papa lift a huge block of ice with a pair of large tongs. He rested on the shoulder, headed down the alley, and went into the side door of the confectionery. On his way out, Papa stopped to a white man who gave Papa a friendly pat on the shoulder. "Was that Mr. Natkin?" asked Addy. Papa climbed into the wagon and in. "Yes," said Papa. "I'm telling you, Addy, this is some kind of freedom. I can deliver ice to make ice cream, but I can't even buy my own daughter a dish of it." "That's all right," Addy said. "I don't like it anyway." Addy looked at the corner. Papa looked at her out of the corner of his eye. Addy could tell he didn't believe her. "Let me make sure the door is closed," he said, jumping from the wagon. When Papa returned, he was carrying something. "Look at here was in the trash. It's a bust-up ice cream freezer. But I can fix it up. Then we'll make our own ice cream." Papa gave Addy a playful nudge. "Wouldn't that be nice?" he asked. "It would be," Addy said. Papa tugged on the reins, and the wagon gave a slow lurch forward. Addy and Papa rode on in silence. She was thinking, "Mama and Papa and I and all the colored people got this strange kind of freedom here in Philadelphia. There are jobs we can't get and shops we can't eat at just because of the color of our skin. It ain't fair." When Addy thought of it, she felt just as dizzy as she standing before the spinning loops of the double Dutch. Being a black girl in Philadelphia was like being outside the loops of these ropes. Inside was a world Addy wanted to enter, but right now she was standing on the outside looking in. How would she be able to jump in that other world? And that's the end of that chapter. See you later.